This is Countdown to Economic Collapse, November 27, 2011. I'm David John Sponheim, running for president in 2012 under America's Third Party. Currently, our economy is in limbo. Retail spending is dramatically increasing. It's up $52 billion over last year's $45 billion in spending for this quarter. The National Retail Federation has declared that online retail spending has gone up as well. So all of these indicators show one of two things. Either everyone has a lot of money or they're borrowing a lot of money. The average person is spending $400 for Christmas, up from $365 last year. This is an interesting situation. Our country has come to the point where people are spending money rapidly because they think that prices are going up even higher. And the Federal Reserve is saying that deflation is happening, and we have to be warned against deflation. And the Federal Reserve believes prices are going down. So what we are seeing essentially is department stores reaching out and grabbing as much money as they can during this time period, which is a normal process. The idea that we should all be spending money we don't have is not a good thing. But the idea that we are spending money is a good thing. So the inertia of the economy continues to grow, as I said. Our dollar is still strong against other world currencies, which is good. The problem is a lot of the money that was divvied out to the big banks many years ago is now finally trickling down to people who are working at certain high-paying jobs, but the rest of America is in poverty. Well, not really the rest, but 49 million people are in poverty in America. That's a serious problem. And the idea that we're just going to somehow get out of this recession by spending more money doesn't make any sense either. What I believe is going on is there's a mad rush to the markets so that people can not get ripped off in the future. Everyone is saving money every which way they can, and what this is showing, this massive amount of retail spending during the holidays, is that the American people desperately want to get ahead of their personal economic tragedy. And I believe that that's just the indication that desperation is upon us, that we are truly in a depression, that in fact the recession they said was over in 2009 actually never ended, but segued to this time period. And the Democrats would like to make us believe that they're doing everything they can. Now take a look at this article that was scrubbed from the internet about Washington State dealing with their budget crisis.
Okay, we're going to take a look at a story that was just scrubbed off of Google and pulled from the Seattle Times. Like here, Fact Check has stated, has Washington cut budget by $10.5 billion? Hardly. So the Democrats are unwilling to admit that they're not cutting the budget. So what they do instead is delete the story from the Seattle Times.
They have failed to work and compromise with the Republicans, and our nation is now at that pivotal point where people aren't finding agreement, but rather finding disagreement on almost every single point. Yet the American people are centrists. Polls say that the American people are right in the middle of the political spectrum. Who in the world is going to decide that our country is going forward in a proper direction other than a centrist president? Who in the world is going to begin the process of mending and compromising? Why is our president continuing to play party politics? And now look what he's doing. He's trying to extend unemployment benefits yet again and insists that he wants to tax millionaires with a surcharge. This concept is going to stall the economy go along. Barack Obama has now stimulated a crisis in Pakistan. Much like he telegraphed during his 2008 campaign, he said that he would do anything to get Osama bin Laden, and he supposedly claims he got Osama bin Laden in the Abbottabad fiasco. But in reality, we worsened our relations with Pakistan, and now NATO forces have killed 24 Pakistani troops. The President and Prime Minister of Pakistan are warning us to now leave, get our secret base out of their country. I don't blame Pakistan for being incredibly upset with what's happening. Barack Obama is mishandling every event in the Middle East, and he's laying the groundwork for a potential Arab winter, a jihad, a Muslim Brotherhood takeover of almost every region. Now President Saleh has finally agreed to leave Yemen and step down. He's actually one of the many leaders who have been forced out of position by this Arab Spring / Arab Winter that the left is proposing and promoting. I am not in favor of that. I would like to see stability in the Middle East, and I'd like to see our troops come home from both Afghanistan and Iraq, but I'd like to maintain a contingency in Iraq and Afghanistan to protect populated regions. Now that means that we're not abandoning any one of our points of power and the advantage in the Middle East, but rather we're securing it and we're automating it and we're preparing with weapons technology to maintain the security of those regions. Barack Obama doesn't have that plan. In fact, he doesn't seem to have a strategy at all other than give everything to the left that he can before he reaches the election of 2012. To appease the left, he's pulling all our troops out of Iraq, leaving the infrastructure. Many Humvees and Amtraks will be abandoned because he doesn't have the time to pull them out. This is a serious problem, and we're weakening the government of Prime Minister Maliki in Iraq. He's facing a potential civil war from underneath, from the ranks of the Sunnis that are trying to separate from his government. And Barack Obama has done nothing to stop this. He in fact turned a blind eye to Prime Minister Maliki, asking him to stay, for the U.S. troops to stay in Iraq. Barack Obama turned away and just decided to appease his leftist minority who's voting for him in the 2012 election. You know, I didn't want the war in Iraq personally. I was a Democrat who didn't want to ratify it, but I can tell you those men and women who died in Iraq and Afghanistan did not die in vain. They were fighting for freedom. And now that kind of freedom is being taken away from the people in Libya who are now under Islamic rule because of Barack Obama, who are now completely controlled by Sharia law, where they're going to be forced to do certain things the women will have to abide. This is not what we wanted. And why did Barack Obama fund al-Qaeda forces so that the rebel leader would take over Libya and then turn it into an Islamist state? This is getting very weird very fast, and our country's in a very, very weak and precarious position, all because of Barack Obama. Well, the stock market is going to be facing some challenges. It has lost nearly 1,000 points in the past week and a half. We're going to see where it's going to go in the future week as bad numbers come out about the GDP and overall cuts in the budget are not happening with the super committee. I'm David John Sponheim for America's Third Party, and I support this message.
Check us out at americasthirdparty.com.
ATP, you and me.